I'm still trying to unravel why is this suddenly a thing? So apparently this Christopher Anderson has written a book, and if I understand this right, and believe me, I keep trying to make sure that I'm understanding everything the way it's supposed to have been written in the book. Not that that's true, just that it is written in the book. That Prince Charles was having this conversation with Camilla over breakfast. And then, of course, it is said that the staff were the ones who alerted Prince Harry. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Prince Harry said that on more than one occasion this was brought up to him. Could you imagine someone in the staff saying that to Prince Harry? And even worse, conveying this from Prince Charles. Did I miss something? I mean, I'm going to have to look at that again because it's not making sense to me. So, looking at the interview with this guy this morning on one of the morning shows, I don't want to say which one because I don't want to give it any more credit than it really needs. But the whole idea of the men in gray, as he said, well, we always say the men in gray suits. It's men in black, not men in gray. It's the men in gray suits. So he's even got the verbiage wrong. And so he's saying that this was a harmless conversation from a grandfather about a grandchild over breakfast, about a future grandchild over breakfast, and that somehow this filtered down to Prince Harry, and at that point it was weaponized. Okay. And so Harry said that it was mentioned on more than one occasion. I'm pretty sure that Harry has enough sense to know when something has been weaponized, or when someone like a sibling is trying to rattle your cage and upset you, rock you back on your heels. Someone who, by all reports, I don't know this firsthand, but from the reports that I've heard, that I've read, that I've seen, that it was his brother who told him, "Are you sure about this woman?" Or that woman, is what they said he called her. "Are you sure about that woman? Why don't you give it more time?" And then it was even alleged that William went on to say, "Why don't you wait 10 years? Why don't you have that 37 or soon to be 37-year-old woman wait until she's 47 so that you all can get married months after the engagement and then try to start a family? Why don't you do that, Harry?" All I can say is, what kind of fool do you think Harry is? Harry recognized the game immediately, although I think he was in denial about it because the family put on this huge farcical appearance that they were actively reaching out to her. And I believe that initially the Queen in particular was reaching out. But does the Queen want to support her heirs more than she would support her grandson? I think not. So initially, yeah, maybe the Queen was reaching out and trying to do something. But eventually, this elderly woman who is the commander of the armed forces and head of the church, and apparently, I guess she's supposed to be able to wage war if it comes up. She's gonna hop on her Clydesdale and go on. She's going to hop on her Clydesdale and go and defend the country. A horse which is the second oldest thing with a heartbeat on the estate of Windsor after the Queen. And then the thing about the photo being removed at Christmas, and that was a signal to Harry. And so this whole flim-flamming story that I'm understanding from this book, if I'm understanding it correct, if I'm getting this right, the whole thing about the photo is that it was removed by one of the courtiers. Again, one of the men in gray or someone else removed the photo because they were trying to send a message to Harry. And that when William noticed that the photo was gone, he told Kate, "Oh, this is going to send the wrong signal. My brother is going to be so upset. I'm so alarmed and disturbed by this." I'm paraphrasing, of course. I'm going to pull my hair out. This is just upsetting. That did not happen. I'm just going to say it. I have no firsthand knowledge, but I'm just going to say that did not happen. That did not happen. William, the last thing that this very pompous man would do is stand up for his brother when everybody else on the desk was part of the order of secession. I think that the fact that Harry and Meghan were not there is not really a surprise. This is something that was going to happen sooner rather than later. But I don't think that Harry would have ever suspected that his grandmother would have done this at Christmas. Now, again, this seems like such a ridiculous thing because this woman seated in front of a gold piano at a time when they're saying everybody should tighten up their belts. This woman sitting in front of a gold piano in this very gilded room would remove this photo or have someone remove it for her because she chose that particular Christmas to send a message to Harry. And that, of course, is what they are alleging led to the whole thing about the Sussexes leaving or stepping back from royal duty. You know, when something has too many moving parts, it is very confusing, and deliberately so. It's very confusing, but I'm going to tell you, I see right through this one. This book is really designed to make William look good. It's designed to make Charles look like an out-of-touch, kind of mean-spirited buffoon. And it's also designed to make William look like some type of savior. I think it just totally removes any responsibility or possibility that William was the one who decided that he wanted to make sure Harry felt as uncomfortable and that his wife felt as unwelcome as possible. Maybe they didn't expect Harry had a strong enough partnership with his wife to share his concerns, but thank goodness he did. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing that is kind of getting under my skin is this whole thing about, and you know, nobody's really talking about it. It's not trending. It's just one of those things that kind of irks me. And I find it rather irksome that time and time again, the Daily Mail, and I'm assuming the other tabloids may have followed suit, but I'm just going to call out the Daily Mail for this. Maskless Jill Biden reads to socially distanced masked kids, that is, at the White House after unveiling Christmas decorations that included an ornament from that other president that was in there before, that other guy. Of course, they had to work his name into it, the other guy. And, of course, they had to point out that Jill Biden was maskless. Why? I don't know. Nobody cared about the fact that Mumbelina sat in a classroom full of children, and in spite of the fact that she wasn't wearing a mask, and no one could still understand her. I'm, I'm willing to bet you if she put a mask on, maybe that will reverse things and you could possibly understand what she's saying. But maskless Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton, was in a classroom full of kids, and the headline did not lead with the fact that she was maskless. And just think about it, with those jazz hands, who knows how much virus she could have been throwing around. If she had it, which of course she probably don't. But I'm just saying, if she did have it with them jazz hands, she could have been throwing virus all over the classroom. So why call out the First Lady of the land of the United States for being maskless? This type of attack upon the Bidens, the Clintons, and most importantly, Barack Obama, the Obamas, this has to stop. And when they're going after Barack Obama, this is clearly full of racist overtones. It's a way to smack down the only African American president that we've ever had, deliberately to belittle him and besmirch his reputation to make him look as bad as possible, again and again, as though he was so privileged, because black people ain't supposed to have any type of privileges, that he and his privileged wife Michelle Obama, with her double Ivy League degree, they should not have had this elaborate party at their Martha's Vineyard estate, which included friends and family. And let's not forget, the Daily Mail pointed out the fact that staff people were forced to wear a mask, but the guests at the party did not. There was no social distancing. But simultaneously, they're reporting on this Aunt McFartlane getting married, who I don't even know what he's famous for. That's like the smallest human being next to Pig Morgan. That's the smallest human being that I could think of in that country. I don't know what he's supposed to be famous for. But they didn't cover his wedding in the same vein. His wedding, there was no mention of a global pandemic. There was no mention of the lack of social distancing. So when I'm saying that I'm sick of these people, you hear me? Sick! This is why I'm so sick of them. This does matter because these tabloid papers have found a way into the hearts and minds of Americans that are willing to listen to this vile, vicious attack day after day upon anybody who they have deemed as woke through their online publication. And mind you, the Daily Mail does have quite a reach. And as you know, they get stories out so fast that you would need Dr. Jill Biden to check their grammar. Actually, those kids in the photo could probably check their grammar. The grammar's off, the spelling is bad, and trust me, if I noticed that you messed up, anybody could. Also, tonight, or actually it was last night, the people of Rio de Janeiro, the people of Brazil, honored Barbados' big leap into becoming a republic by illuminating the statue of Christ the Redeemer in the colors of the flag of Barbados, of the newly minted Republic of Barbados. No longer a realm of Her Majesty the Queen. And all I have to say about that is Scotland next. For those of you who ain't on Twitter, I'm going to do you a favor. There's an image of the former First Lady, the one who I could only say worked less than Kate Middleton. I mean, she and Kate have a lot in common. They look good in a frock, and they don't work a whole lot. And in both cases, the press has worked extra hard to try to inflate their lack of achievements in comparison with the so-called woke people. This really does make me angry because this idea that a hard-working woman of color who has climbed up to the ladder of success and reached the top, this is the Vice President of the United States. This is someone who did not get to the White House the way some other people have. And I'm trying to be as polite as possible when I say that. She was in Paris and purchased cookware because she cooks for her family in spite of the high station in life and being just a heartbeat away from the highest office in the land. Do not try to put a black woman in a position where she has to explain herself. And just consider the type of people that's asking the question. I mean, some of those people that write for the Daily Mail, I tell you, you put them together and it looks like a kennel show. Maybe that's why they get along with the royal family so well. They usually relate very well to dogs and ponies. Yet when Melania Trump shows up in a $50,000 couture jacket, nobody says a word. People just went on and on and on about how great she looked, how little she spoke, how little she said, how little she does. Well, I probably said that, but nobody said anything about her outfit. Women of color are not allowed to show any signs of success. That's not reserved for any woman of color. And for those of you who think that I am picking on the former First Lady, just remember when there was an attack on Barack Obama's heritage, or as we like to say, birtherism, she did go on a talk show with Joy Behar and claim that the American people want to see his birth certificate. Yeah, she went on television and claimed, but the people want to know, as if the woman who got into this country on an Einstein visa, that college dropout, who somehow slipped into the United States with an Einstein visa, is in any position to ask about Barack Obama's birth certificate. So if you think I'm heavy-handed with the mean girl of Kensington Palace, you ain't never heard me talk about the former First Lady. And trust me when I say this, I could spot a mean girl at 1,000 paces, and that is definitely a mean girl. So last night, we took a big leap into the deep end, didn't we? There was a live stream from Royal Sussex, and that live stream from Royal Sussex was actually by mistake. I was experimenting with the StreamYard, which of course is a tool used to live stream. So before I knew it, names were popping up and comments were popping up. And so for those of you who did not receive any notification about the live stream, you can count me as one of those people because I didn't know it was happening either. But yeah, it was fun. And for those of you that were able to find the live stream, that was a moment. And especially, I received my first live stream contribution. I felt so part of it. So yeah, thank you very much for those of you who contributed last night. It was fun, and we're going to try to do it again Sunday. So probably by Wednesday, I'm going to try to do another live stream, like just to see if I can upload photos or display photos or whatever simultaneously. I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to have to do some homework in the meantime. But either way, I think we'll have fun. That's it for now. Please like, subscribe, share, donate, etc. If you would like to make a donation and you don't know how, to help support this channel, you can go to the comments section where you can find links to the Patreon, the PayPal, and the Cash App. Thanks for watching Royal Sussex.